Hey, spiritual extremists, it's Dr. Lloyd-Moffett here in the box, and we're going to talk today about the motivation for this seemingly crazy spiritual acts of fighting the body. And so what the heck is going on here? Because undoubtedly you'll want to show some of those pictures to your roommates or siblings or whatever, because this stuff is crazy, right? But here, after having spoken with many, many ascetics over my lifetime, here's what I think is going on. So most ascetics believe deeply that there is something real and true in the universe. There's something great out there. There's something marvelous, miraculous, something that makes sense, that's bursting with potential, that we can live a life of spiritual joy and bliss. And in fact, they would say we should all do the following experiment. Close your eyes for a moment and think of a time when you had the most pure joy, the clearest happiness, the sheer bliss and natural high. Think of that moment. Maybe it was a moment of sheer bliss witnessing an amazing sunset or listening to a particular piece of music. Maybe it was a moment with your close friends or family where the universe just seemed to click in an unreal way. Maybe it was a bite of food that was so good that you think it is unworldly. Maybe it was a feeling the first time you realized you loved somebody. Maybe it was an intense pleasure of a memorable sexual experience. Maybe it was a bountiful waves of peace that came in the midst of a meditation or a church service or a synagogue service. Maybe it was a time when you witnessed mind-blowing power. You saw just an incredibly perfect wave or the beauty of the mountains after snow. Just think of a moment of sheer bliss. Now, with your eyes still closed, think of holding on to that moment. Imagine that moment in perpetuity. Imagine a life where that wasn't exceptional, but that was the norm. Marinate in that potential for a while. Now, ascetics would say, you can open your eyes now. They wouldn't say that. I would say that. You can open your eyes now. Ascetics would say that that's what our life should be like. That's what is possible. Now, they would say, don't tell me that that's not possible. It might not be always practical, but it's possible. And if you're honest with yourself, so many of the things we do in our lives are there to try to cultivate these moments. I mean, we build these large dining rooms in our houses to try to just occasionally have that magic moment with family or friends where everybody's clicking. We go on these exotic vacations so that just maybe when the sun is setting in the Mediterranean and we have that perfect $5 bottle of Chianti with the person we love, we will have one of those moments. We buy summer houses or winter houses in the mountains or the coast in order to maybe have one of those transcendent moments of natural bliss. We spend tremendous amounts of money on great food or great wine or a great cigar, hoping to one day have that transcendent moment with those substances. We celebrate anniversaries trying to recapture the moment of the honeymoon or something like that. In fact, we could go on here, but so much of what we do is trying to cultivate moments in their lives. And ascetics would say, if you just look at what people are like, you know, most people don't have those moments very often. Most people are slightly bitter, marginally happy, struggling through life. And so most ascetics say what everybody else is doing doesn't seem to be working. Either they don't know that it's possible to live that life of sheer bliss, or they've just given up hope that it's a possibility. And I've always thought there's a concept in Greek that is helpful here. There's two words for life in Greek. One is bios, where we get biology from, or biography from, and that's sort of our brute existence. By sheer fact of breathing, we're all living a bios life. We are surviving. However, Greek has a second word for life, and this is zoe. And the life zoe is a higher life, a life so rich and full that's categorically different from just surviving, from just mundane bios life. It's the idea in Greek where the very power of the universe, it could be the Spirit of God, races through your veins. And we experience this Zoe life as unbounded joy, sheer bliss, not a joy dependent upon circumstances or place, but grounded in something different. And most ascetics say that in the end, that's the sort of life we should be living. And the drudgery of most of our day-to-day existences are something that should be avoided. And I've heard this said in so many different ways, but one of the most common ways is to hear people say, we are not a human being having a spiritual experience, but we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And what I think this means to most people who say that is that our state should be one of pure spiritual joy and bliss. And all these human experiences that we have, these foibles, these disappointments, these challenges, that's not how we are supposed to live. We have so much more potential. And so ascetics are driven by an incredible desire, an innate sort of zeal for living an existence of pure spiritual joy and bliss. And so they aren't negative as they might seem when they're attacking their body, but they're actually driven by a tremendous amount of joy. Now, some of you might say, okay, I can't imagine that, I guess, but it's just not realistic. It's a pipe dream, and maybe it is quite literally for some of you. But the ascetic response is no, it's not that way. It is possible. There have been people in history who lived that sort of way. It's just you have to really work for it. You shouldn't just settle for good things, a cold beer with some good friends, a day at the beach every once in a while, Thanksgiving with a part of the family you actually like, or sunset with somebody you love and aren't fighting with. Those are all just weak shadows of what is possible. You have a chance to have pure spiritual bliss, right? And so when they look at it, you want to think of it this way, is that there's a basic formula that's happening. There's a dissatisfaction with most people's lives, with their self and society, and that's mixed with a wholehearted hope in the highest possibilities for humanity. And the idea is that, we can fight against that dissatisfaction with our day-to-day life, and we can achieve something great. And if you go back to this idea of asceticism, of training, well, when you think about the Olympics, somebody wins a gold medal in weightlifting, and they talk about how since the age of 3, they spent 9 hours a day in the gym, and they fought all for this moment. And so they worked their body in order to achieve, what, a gold medal? Well, ascetics say, there's something even greater we can achieve. That's permanent spiritual bliss and nirvana. And shouldn't we train our bodies for that? And that is why ascetics are often called the athletes for God, because they work and train themselves in order to have that highest possibility. And they say it's in fact insane if you don't thirst with every fiber of your body for that highest good, and you're not willing to give up everything in order to do it. And so what the ascetic says is that you may look at my actions and see them as extreme, but it's only because we wholeheartedly believe in the goal. And in fact, if you do believe in the goal, and you do believe that the body is something that is standing in the way, it's irrational not to attack it in the ways we do. And so the premise is that a life Zoe is possible, but we need to work to achieve it. And so the next question is, why aren't we achieving it? What is it about the body that keeps us from achieving that highest goal? And that's what the next section will be on.